broadcasts this season. Ooh-wee, big-time doubleheader. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they meet in the season opener.
Indiana Fever put this out. All eyes on us.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale.
Caitlin Clark once again dominates WNBA national TV schedule.
The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
41 of our 44 games are on national television, the most television games in franchise history, the most national television games for a single team in WNBA history. I'm sure this is because of Angel Reese.
The Indiana Fever just released their 2025 schedule. And surprise, surprise, Caitlin Clark is once again rewriting history without even stepping on the court.
The Liberty and Aces, they're going to clash here 3 times. All 3 of those are on ABC and ESPN. The Fever and the Sky, they meet 5 times. Caitlin Clark, the revamped Fever, they look to build on their success.
If you thought last season was big, buckle up, because 41 out of 44 games will be nationally televised, smashing every record the WNBA has ever seen.
Caitlin Clark draws massive viewership, and other teams don't. Caitlin Clark averaged about 1.2 million viewers per game, and the rest of the league about 400 to 500,000.
And guess what? The haters are already in meltdown mode. Teams are scrambling to move their home games to bigger arenas, networks are fighting over broadcasting rights, and the league is cashing in big time, all thanks to one player.
Sigh, I miss the Unrivaled already. They're mad. Caitlin Clark didn't play in that league. They want her out. They want you fans out of the league.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA. The numbers don't lie. She's selling out arenas, shattering TV ratings, and forcing the league to evolve in ways they never imagined. But as always, some people just can't handle the truth.
One of the worst WNBA fans and one of CC's biggest haters is already complaining. They don't like the game of basketball at all. They just want to support Reese. I've said the majority of her fans are not Hoops fans.
Oh, and did I mention, Clark just set another record without even playing a game. Stick around because this is huge. Let's get into it. The Caitlin Clark effect is no longer just a catchphrase. It's a full-blown revolution, and the WNBA just proved it yet again.
6 WNBA networks set ratings records this season, all Caitlin Clark. 23 WNBA games drew more than 1 million viewers. Clark played in 20 of them.
The Indiana Fever's 2025 schedule has dropped, and the numbers speak for themselves. 41 out of 44 games will be nationally televised, the most in franchise history, and the most for any single team in WNBA history.
Give me Angel Reese, give me Caitlin Clark, because this has been box office, y'all. The young guns, the young stars have come to play. Angel at Unrivaled, training with Lisa, Leslie, and Caitlin. We all know that girl. She lives, breathes, eats, sleeps in the gym. So I am so excited to see that matchup, those two, because anytime they go up against each other, honestly, the whole world shuts down.
Yep.
Everything shuts down.
Yep.
Think about that. The Fever, a team that struggled for relevance just a few years ago, is now the centerpiece of the WNBA's national coverage. And let's not pretend this is some coincidence. The reason? Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA Draft and All-Star Game demolished their viewership records with Caitlin Clark. The Diana Taurasi draft drew 600,000. It was the most watched draft ever. Caitlin Clark's draft drew nearly 2.5 million. 374% increase of viewership. Fever quadrupled ticket sales after drafting Clark.
The league, the networks, and even rival teams know exactly what's happening. Caitlin Clark is the biggest ticket in women's basketball, and they are desperate to cash in. How desperate? Well, 6 different teams have moved their home games to larger arenas just to accommodate the demand when Clark and the Fever come to town.
Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever schedule has come out. We now know how many national games they got. The Indiana Fever is America's team, but the old WNBA fans are furious over it. They're mad. They're crying.
Let's break it down. Atlanta Dream moved a game to State Farm Arena, home of the Atlanta Hawks. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center, home of the Bulls and Blackhawks. Connecticut Sun moved a game to TD Garden, home of the Boston Celtics. Dallas Wings moved a game to American Airlines Center, home of the Mavericks and Stars. Las Vegas Aces moved a game to T-Mobile Arena, home of the NHL's Golden Knights. Washington Mystics moved 2 games to CFG Bank Arena for extra capacity. Let that sink in. These teams aren't making moves for Angel Reese. They aren't upgrading for Aja Wilson or Brianna Stewart. They're doing it for one reason. Caitlin Clark sells tickets.
Washington and Indiana set the single-game attendance record of 20,711 on September 19 Capital One Arena. The WNBA's average attendance last year was 9,807 fans, up 48%. And keep in mind, that was really one person that added those 3,000 fans on average.
And this is exactly why the Indiana Fever will be on national TV more than any other team in the league. When Clark steps onto the court, it's not just a game, it's a must-watch event. But here's where it gets even crazier. The WNBA's 2024 season already broke records, thanks to Clark. Viewership skyrocketed, attendance jumped by 48%, and national networks saw their highest ratings in decades.
And what's killing me is it's the fans that are demanding that these players make more money, but they don't want to support the very player that's causing that money to be made. They can't stand her. We know why. We watched the poor young lady get demolished last year.
And what did the league do for 2025? They doubled down, more ABC, ESPN, and CBS games featuring Clark, more Fever matchups in primetime slots, and a media frenzy unlike anything the league has ever seen. The message is loud and clear. The WNBA is finally relevant on a mainstream level, and it's all because of one player. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star. She's the biggest game-changer women's basketball has ever seen.
The Indiana Fever is America's team. The haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. It's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
And the best part? She hasn't even played a game in 2025 yet. If there's one thing that's become painfully obvious, it's that not everyone is happy about Caitlin Clark's success. While the WNBA is finally seeing record-breaking viewership, ticket sales, and national exposure, the old guard, the so-called loyal WNBA fan base, and some of the league's veteran players are furious. Why? Because for years, they've pushed certain narratives. They told us Angel Reese was the future of the WNBA.
The Indiana Fever will have more nationally televised games this season than the last two WNBA champions.
They hyped up Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart as the league's biggest stars. But now, the numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is the real face of the league, and they can't stand it. The TV ratings don't lie. The WNBA's 2024 season was the most watched in over 2 decades. And guess what? The Fever, a team that hadn't been relevant in years, was at the center of it all.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever get the most airtime because they're America's team, baby. Deal with it. Slows. Growing the game doesn't mean focusing on one player and her toxic MAGA cult fans. As for Caitlin Clark, the player,
here's the reality check. Clark's games averaged over 1.2 million viewers per game. The rest of the league, barely 400,000. 23 WNBA games hit over 1 million viewers. Clark played in 20 of them. One Fever regular season game on ABC hit 2.23 million viewers, higher than some NBA games. When the Fever made the playoffs, one of their games hit 2.5 million viewers, outdrawing the actual WNBA finals. This isn't even a debate anymore. The Clark effect is real, and it's single-handedly driving the league's popularity. The old WNBA fans may not like it, but this is how business works. Networks follow ratings, and advertisers follow money. Both are pointing straight to Caitlin Clark.
this is the national broadcast schedule against the Sky. It's an ABC broadcast network television game. New York Liberty, it's a CBS game. These are all going to be big rated games. CBS against the Sky, ABC against the Liberty. Here's Aja Wilson right here in the Aces on 622 on ESPN. Right here, ABC, Dallas Wings. All the Indiana Fever versus Sky games are on big networks. One of these games is going to hit 3 million viewers this year.
And of course, as expected, the backlash has been louder than ever. Some fans and media members are desperate to spin this into something else. They claim Clark's popularity is manufactured. They say the WNBA is only pushing her because she's white. They whine about fairness and equity. But here's the truth. Clark earned this. When Angel Reese was given her own league, Unrivaled, she completely flopped. struggling to draw even 200,000 viewers per game. Meanwhile, Clark was packing out WNBA arenas.
WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games. You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance? 48%. That's massive. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with. Tom.
The WNBA tried pushing Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart for years, but they never moved the needle like Clark. Even with Reese, Wilson, and Stewart combined, Clark still dominates the national TV schedule. And let's not forget, Angel Reese's team, the Chicago Sky, has 23 national TV games this season, but 5 of those are against Indiana. Translation, Reese only gets the spotlight when she's facing Caitlin Clark. Without Clark, she's an afterthought. It's not just the fans who are bitter. WNBA players themselves are showing cracks.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
When the national TV schedule dropped, some players openly complained that Clark was getting too much attention. Nneka Ogwumike and Nafisa Collier hinted at a potential WNBA strike, right after Clark helped the league land massive media deals. Angel Reese? Instead of focusing on basketball, she's out here making headlines for social media drama and playing the victim card. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark? She's staying quiet, working hard, and letting her game do the talking. While others whine about fairness, Clark is literally making the money. At the end of the day, this isn't about race, politics, or who deserves what. This is about reality. The WNBA is finally profitable because of Caitlin Clark. She is the reason ticket sales exploded. She is the reason networks are paying big money for TV rights, and she is the reason every team is fighting for attention. The old WNBA fan base, they can stay mad. The veteran players, they can complain all they want, because no amount of whining will change one simple fact. Caitlin Clark is the biggest star the WNBA has ever seen. And this is just the beginning. The WNBA just dropped its biggest bombshell yet, and once again, Caitlin Clark is at the center of it. Without even stepping on the court, she just set another massive record, proving once and for all that she is the most valuable player the league has ever seen. So, what's the record? Simple. 41 out of 44 Indiana Fever games will be nationally televised, the highest in WNBA history. Not only that, but the Fever are the most nationally broadcasted team ever, with more primetime slots than even the Las Vegas Aces, 33 games, and New York Liberty, 32 games.
We got an article from Front Office Sports. 6 WNBA teams that moved games versus Caitlin Clark in the Fever. Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden. Dallas Wings have moved 1 game to American Airlines Center. Las Vegas Aces have moved 1 game, and the Mystics have 2 games moved.
Let's put that into perspective. The Fever aren't reigning champions. They don't have multiple MVPs. They didn't even have a winning record last season. Yet, the entire WNBA schedule revolves around them, all because of one player. This is the kind of media treatment usually reserved for dynasties like the Golden State Warriors or Los Angeles Lakers. But the Fever, a team that was practically invisible just 2 years ago, now owns the WNBA spotlight. And it's not because of luck, it's because Caitlin Clark is the biggest ticket in sports. If you need more proof that Clark is the most valuable athlete in the WNBA, just look at where her games are airing. 10 games on ABC, including multiple primetime slots. 7 games on CBS, marking the first ever WNBA primetime game on national TV. ESPN, ESPN+, ION, and Amazon Prime are all competing for a piece of the action.
The association, they gave us a gym that I paid for. Not entirely, but they took money out of my check and I paid for it, bro.
You better get the fucking full usage of that.
Man, I got hot tub, cold tub, weight room, full court basketball room. I walk in today, I'm on one side working out, Caitlin Clark on the other side.
Really?
I look at myself, there you go, 2 fucking legends, Patty.
Did you say what's up?
You know I say what's up, but I'm not the type to say what's up to interrupt your workout because I don't like people to interrupt mine. She can shoot the shit out of it.
And the WNBA assist leader this past year.
She can shoot the shit out the ball.
She's a great shooter.
And she's one of those workout people, you know, got to think, anytime I hit the court, I got to hit that bike. I'm older now, so I got to get on that bike and stroll for a couple, 5, 6, 7 minutes. So while I'm strolling through the park, I'm looking at her shoot it. And she's one of those shooters where, if you know, as a gym rat, you guys know, like, damn, bro, why you throw that pass bad? Give me the ball in my chest. I'm like, oh, she's a gangster also.
She's lighting people up.
Throw me the ball the way I want it.
What drill was it? What drill was she running?
I don't know. She was doing a 2 in a row corner wing. And if you miss, you have to go back to the next spot. And if you missed again, you have to go back to the starting spot. She had a nice drill. I'm literally still in it.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right. So she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Translation, Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's LeBron James. Every network wants a piece of her because they know she guarantees ratings. And the numbers back it up. When Clark plays, games average over 1.2 million viewers. When she doesn't, viewership drops to just 400,000. Fever games alone accounted for almost half of the WNBA's national TV revenue last season. This isn't hype. It's cold, hard business. The networks are investing in Caitlin Clark because they know she's the reason people are watching. It's not just the networks that see Clark's value, it's the teams themselves. Last year, the WNBA saw 154 sellout games, the most in history. Over 340,000 fans attended Fever home games, a 319% increase from the year before. The Chicago Sky, Atlanta Dream, Connecticut Sun, and Dallas Wings all moved games to NBA arenas just to accommodate the demand when Clark comes to town. Here's the best part. None of these teams made these changes for any other player. Not Aja Wilson, not Angel Reese, not Brianna Stewart. Only Caitlin Clark moves the needle like this. While Clark is breaking records without even playing, Angel Reese is out here grasping for attention. She's been complaining about her lack of national TV games, even though she only gets attention when playing against Caitlin Clark.
Now you got universities trying to defend Angel Reese and make her out as the victim. Newly published study from Rice University and the University of Illinois at Chicago takes a data-driven look at one of the most polarizing sports controversies in recent memory, the Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark debate from the 2023 NCAA Championship. During the title game between LSU and the University of Iowa, Caitlin Clark, the Iowa star guard, made a now famous "you can't see me" hand gesture, a taunt originally popularized by wrestler John Cena. Without much controversy, however, when LSU's Angel Reese made the same gesture towards Clark in the closing moments of the game, the reaction was starkly different. Reese was immediately labeled as classless and unsportsmanlike by some media personalities and fans, sparking a nationwide discussion about double standards in sports, race, and gender. Now a new study quantifies what many already suspected. Public and media reactions to Reese and Clark were not just different, but radicalized. Before, during, and after the game, to unpack the racial dynamics at play, the study found that Clark was largely celebrated. Reese was disproportionately criticized, often with racial undertones.
She's posting on social media, stirring up drama, trying to keep her name in the headlines. She's acting like she's an equal rival to Clark, when in reality, the networks, the fans, and even the WNBA itself have already made their decision. Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. And it's not just Reese. Other players are jealous, too. The WNBA Players Association is talking about a possible strike, yet they conveniently ignore who's actually making the money. The same players demanding bigger paychecks don't want to admit that Clark is the reason the league can afford it. The reality is simple. Caitlin Clark is carrying the WNBA into a new era. She's breaking viewership records. She's forcing teams to upgrade their arenas. She's making the WNBA a must-watch event. And the scariest part? She hasn't even played a game in 2025 yet. While others complain, Clark just keeps winning. She's the reason the WNBA is thriving. And every team, every network, and every hater knows it.
Most influential female athletes right now: Coco Gauff, 10, Juju Watkins, number 9, Cameron Brent, 8, Paige Beckers, number 7, Sabrina Ionescu, number 6, Asia Wilson. So Asia's not going to be happy either. Jakari Richardson was number 4, Simone Biles, number 3, right here. I can't quite get past the fact that Simone Biles is behind Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark, she ran away with number 1. I don't think that should surprise us. She came away with number 1. Caitlin Clark is redefining the entire landscape of women's sports. Her dominance on the court has shattered outdated narratives about women's sports, proving that women's basketball can be just as marketable and widely watched as men's. But the Caitlin Clark effect goes far beyond her performance. It's reshaping the entire sports landscape. Her presence alone boosts the WNBA attendance by 105% compared to games without her, while road games featuring her Indiana Fevers see an 87% increase in opponent home attendance. Her rookie debut sparked a staggering 200% jump in WNBA viewership, while Fever home games drew a league-high 186,000 fans last season, a 265% increase from 2023.
Mark your calendars, because this season is going to be legendary. Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the WNBA, she's completely redefining it. The Fever's 2025 schedule proves what we already knew. Clark is the biggest star the league has ever seen. With 41 nationally televised games, record-breaking ticket sales, and teams scrambling to move to bigger arenas, it's clear that everything in the WNBA now revolves around her. The haters can cry about it, the jealous players can complain, but the numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. And the best part? She's only getting started. The 2025 season is going to be bigger, louder, and more unstoppable than ever. The networks know it, the fans know it, and deep down, even her biggest critics know it too. So buckle up, because the Caitlin Clark Show is just beginning. And if you think last season was wild, you haven't seen anything yet. If you're ready to watch Clark dominate the WNBA once again, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop in the comments. Let's get ready for a legendary season.